This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we have a LG Trom dryer that's really noisy when it spins. So we unplugged it. We're going to be removing these 3 screws on the back in the corner and one in the middle, and then we're going to pull off the top by pushing it back away from us and then lifting up. So we would need to remove the front panel, but to do that you have to take off the top panel. We take out a couple of screws here that are holding on the control panel, and then we're going to pry the control panel toward us very gently using a standard head screwdriver. Just take your time, you don't want to break the plastic. Just a little bit at a time and it'll come loose and you can get it out of the way. And then we're going to be removing some more screws to get the front panel off. So these are some screws that are at the top of the front panel, just behind the control panel. Zipping those off. There we go. We're going to take out these 2 little machine screws here that are near the filter housing. Now we're going to pull the top toward us and then gently remove this modular connector for the door switch. Be careful when you pull back that you don't get cut by the sheet metal. Pretty sharp. We're going to lift off the front panel and we're going to disconnect this electrical connector here underneath the front panel, because this is kind of connected to the front panel. There's also a connector for the light in the upper left-hand corner of the front panel that you want to take off too before you remove this part called the bulkhead. So we're getting these 4 screws out in each corner. And then we're going to be able to lift this bulkhead piece out. It has a couple of rollers underneath that are supporting the drum, and my suspicion is that a couple of these are kind of worn out, or something's wrong with them because they're super noisy. So we're undoing these Phillips head screws here on the filter housing. We're going to pull the filter housing off. You just grab it, pull down, it'll come off. Clean that up later. Now we'll grab the bulkhead, we'll lift it up a little bit and then pull it out. We're going to pull it out at the bottom first. And we're going to slip it out. It's a little bit hard to get out because the wheels underneath are still on the tumbler. So what you could do is get up underneath and push up on the tumbler and then pull it towards you. It should come loose. There we go. So we got a couple wheels here and then a couple wheels near the back of the dryer. This one here that I'm touching has a big flat spot, so that's what's causing all that noise. You can see some of the rubber fell off there too. So I'm also spinning it though to see if the back ones are making any noise or if they're not spinning well, but they're spinning really good. So you could replace them, but we don't really need to at this point. So we're just going to be replacing these 2 in the front. You can buy a kit that comes with all 4 of them and just do them all at the same time. Pretty easy. So I'm using a standard head screwdriver to pry off the little plastic piece that's holding the wheel in position. I'm going to lift up and then I'm going to go to each corner of that plastic piece until it comes off. And I can pull that old wheel right off. The axle that it rides on seems good. It's not oblong, it's just still very round, so we don't need to replace that axle. It comes, usually the wheel comes with a new axle. I'm just going to pry off the little plastic piece that retains the wheel on the new axle and just go ahead and put it right onto the old axle, because the old axle is in good shape. Sometimes you notice that the metal surface, the bearing surface on the wheel and the post are both getting worn out. Sometimes it's just the wheel itself, the rubber. So that spins really good. We're going to put the plastic piece back on to hold it in position. It kind of clicks into place. And we'll do the same procedure here on this wheel. I'm just going to pry up. It's interesting, these wheels are designed where they don't need lubrication. Putting lubrication in actually attracts dust and hair and dirt, and that actually makes the metal wear out faster. So these bearing surfaces don't really need it. So we're doing the same thing with this one. It comes with the new axle, which you can certainly replace the axle and the wheel, but the axles here seem great. No need to replace them. So we're just going to pry off the plastic retaining piece, and then we'll go ahead and take this new wheel and put it on the old post, making sure the post is clean. Put the plastic piece on, and that's it. And no, it's going to be, all the rumbling is going to be gone. We're going to go ahead and slip the assembly back up underneath between this front middle panel and there we go, and the tumbler. And we're going to bring it in at the bottom so that the tumbler is riding on those wheels. And we're going to push these metal legs at the corners back into the frame, get everything to sit properly, and then we'll put those screws back in. There we go. Another thing that could cause rumbling though is the blower fan. It's in the lower left hand corner. If it comes loose of the motor shaft, the way you know that that rumbling is coming from that is if you open the door while it's running, you hear the rumbling. But when you open the door, the motor stops, but then the rumbling will continue sometimes for a full second. And that means that that blower fan is still spinning. It should stop immediately, but if it's come loose, it'll keep spinning, it'll rumble. Then you just need a new blower fan. So we're reaching in and cleaning all this junk out of the filter housing. Filter housing is really clear, then the airflow's not impeded and the dryer does a better job. It can dry faster. Getting all the junk out of there. Then we'll go ahead and reinstall the filter housing, and it's going to go back up, and then we'll put in the screws to hold it. So if you're getting all this lint in your machine, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just normal for this to build up over time. But whenever repair is done, it's good to get in there and clean up the lint. So we're putting the screws back in to hold the filter housing. There we go. Putting the screws in that hold in bulkhead. So the bulkheads give structure to the dryer and help support the tumbler. We're spinning the tumbler, making sure it's spinning good. So it's nice and smooth now. It's not making any noise. Before it was clunking around because there was a flat spot on that wheel. Putting the front panel back down on the clips in the lower left and lower right hand corner, and then we're going to reconnect the door switch. Make sure you push that in all the way. Get that electrical connector in there tight. I'm lifting up on the control panel to get it out of the way, and then I'll push the front panel back in, and then I'll put the screws in that hold it. There we go. So the front panel is back into position, and we just got to add those screws in that hold it there. I'm kind of lifting up on the control panel while I do it. There we go. And then we're going to put the control panel back in. If it's down on the bottom, then we push it in at the top to click it in. Put these two screws in behind the control panel to hold it in. Behind the upper left and upper right hand corner. So you might be replacing these rollers like at about the 8-year or 10-year mark. They just normally wear out. If they wear out faster than that, you may be putting in super heavy things into the dryer, so it's wearing out prematurely. Putting in those machine screws here at the bottom that go between the front panel and the filter housing. Got it. Close the door. Put the top panel back on. It's going to sit down maybe a couple inches away from the control panel, and then you push it in. So that did the trick. We'll put the screws in the back and we're all done. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.